Welcome back, brothers, to the 801st Legion podcast, a Star Wars Legion podcast. It's been a very long time, but we have some exciting updates, some hot takes, like always, and some good times that we're going to let roll. So without further ado, punch it, Kyle.
Hello there.
You must unlearn
Dark
what you
side
have
of the
learned.
Force is a pathway to many abilities.
Red,
Some
green, or
considered
red, green, red.
to be
I know that you
She'll do!
Sorry about the mess.
I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you.
General Kenobi.
Let's rearrange some architecture.
Is it possible to learn this power?
I thank you for your hospitality.
Twice the pride, double the fall.
Impressive. I'll show you the dark side.
Okay, well, we're back. We are back. And today I am here with somebody new. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. So I'm Josh, also known as Rust Bucket on the 801st Discord channel. I don't know, what else do you want me to Discord?
Whatever. I mean, how long have you been playing?
Okay, so I've been playing Legion since the start. I got right into it as soon as it came out in March of 2018.
That's the old days.
Yeah, 4 years ago at this point. Almost.
Before the dark times.
No, that was the start of the dark times. Wait,
Before 2020. Yeah.
that's also fair.
Got
Anyway,
it, yeah.
yeah, so I've been doing that. Currently, I'm playing a ton of Republic because I am just doing. I've also gotten to the point where I have so many models that I am like, I need to paint an army before I can move on to a new one because I have all 4 factions.
Right? I mean, you've played so much. I've seen you play everything. I've played against your rebels, against your droids, against your empire, and lately you've been whipping me with clones, which is good to see.
Especially in the current patch.
Yeah.
Patch update. Oh man. I also play PC games, so you know that comes across.
Right? You also have a big history in other war games, right?
Yeah. I've been playing since 2004.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Yeah.
A while.
Like it was middle school because I was playing because I started with the Lord of the Rings skirmish game before it became War of the Ring and then became what it currently is right now, which is the skirmish game again.
Oh, yeah, the strategy battle game. That is I have played that too. That is a fun one.
That was a fun one. But yeah, I did that. I've played War Mahorts. I've played X-Wing. I've played Blood Bowl. I've played both Warhammers. I played Warhammer Fantasy and Age of Sigmar. 40K. I've run the gauntlet on war games.
You could say you're knowledgeable. That's for sure, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm so happy to have you here. So, what we're going to do is a quick little channel update. I'm so happy to have Josh here. With everything going on, there's been a lot of changes in life. Specifically, our man Kyle is becoming a big boy. He's growing up. We're so proud of him. So proud. He has a lot of stuff going on in his personal life and family life, which we're very excited for him for. But because of that, he's going to be stepping away from the podcast a little bit. He might be coming in every now and then, still helping us on the back end. But moving forward, it sounds like we're going to be bringing in some co-hosts, and Josh will be here with me as well. And so get used to him because he's got some good takes. He actually helps me a lot to see stuff. We have some very fun discussions. And we're going to probably also see if we can get Marshall and a couple other people on. We'll see. But it looks like we're going to have some new roads, some good prospects, and we'll be getting back to normal.
Yeah. At least once a month, I'm hoping.
Right?
Let's shoot for once a month right now and then eventually go to weekly. Because weekly would be awesome. But oh my gosh, it's a lot.
Weekly
especially
is
right
a
off
lot.
the bat.
Right, and there's so much to do on the outside, like editing and things. And then you still got to play games and experience what's going on.
Yeah, because we can't have hot takes if we don't have terrible misfit or failures and awfulness.
I don't know about you, but I can make hot takes about Taylor Swift all I want. I don't know anything about her, so...
Her new album's really good. That's all I know about it.
Low-key, I've heard that too, but I haven't listened to it, which is weird because I do like music a ton. But yeah, anyways, so welcome to the podcast, Josh.
Yay!
Good to have you. But we want to also kind of give you guys an update on what's happening in our local meta. Because today we want to talk about what we're seeing, especially with all the changes that have happened, right?
Yeah, there's a whole new rules reference update.
Oh my goodness, and what an update it is.
I'm going to call it a patch again. I know it.
It literally feels like a 2.0 patch in some ways. But we already got our 2.0 patch last year.
Yeah, Clone Wars.
Yeah, we really did. Oh no, because last year was the reference 2.0.
So is this version 3.0? So let's see here. So we had the original, and then they got changed because Tauntauns and Shores got changed. That was 2.0. And then the next time was clone token sharing clone standby got nerfed, so that was 3.0. So technically we're in 4.0.
And that was also when they got the T47s changed. So.
Yeah, to the crits. Well, T47s got reduced in points in the first one, and then in the second one they got surge crit and reduced points again.
And Wedge got the change too, yeah.
Technically Wedge got a change in this one too.
I think that was also when the Wookiees got scale, right? It's when they started to get, yeah.
Yeah, because it was after Grievous got, because Grievous came out and everyone's like, why don't Wookiees have scale?
But that was, I think that was with the Wedge changes, and I think that was the same time when the Wookiees and the T47 got the help, which was great. But anyways, we're gonna give you that update and see how things are going. But like, man, is there a lot of Empire vehicles? Just a lot of Empire. Holy crap!
There's a lot of Empire. There was a lot of Empire before the rules updates.
There was
locally.
There was.
There was a lot of local Empire all the time.
I guess what are you thinking about with all the Empire? Because there is so much of it.
There's so much Empire. Empire is such a weird position because I think Empire's never been awful.
No.
They've needed help. Yeah, I won't deny that, but they've never been like, I can't win with Empire. Hold on. Are we going to take that take too? Or are we going to address that as part of like the community thing that we're seeing?
The community thing, probably. Let's just get right into it about like everything that we're seeing, because like, I don't know, like I think at the very top end of competitive, I can understand that. Like there were some struggles, especially like, why am I playing the Empire if there's clones? But
okay,
now I feel like, why am I playing clones when I could play Empire? You know what I mean?
That's fair. Okay, how about this? I'll do my very first ever hot take.
Here's
my first ever hot take.
Welcome to the 801st Hot Takes podcast, a hot take podcast.
Starting out super strong. Okay.
Super strong.
So, and I believe this for many years. Like, basically, since probably about the time that Tauntauns came out. So Tauntauns and Shores.
So it's like 2 years ago, 2.5 years?
So
okay.
Before, let's just call it when Clone Wars came out. Let's just set it right at that time.
Yeah, that's probably good.
Because that was a great time for this game. This game, my hot take is this game cannot be net decked. It is more about player skill rather than lists. So with that, Empire's never been awful. It's just you didn't know how to run the list. That sounded really personal, but that's, I guess, what a hot take is. Does that make sense?
Like a hard U in there, yeah.
Like you couldn't just pick up Empire and be like, I'm amazing. You had to like understand how to run Empire units. They still needed help with points, sure, but you could still make it work always, even before the new patch. I'm just running with that now.
I gotta kind of agree with that. I think Empire players, at least if I'm thinking about other games that I've played, they're kind of like, I guess like the scum players in X-Wing, you know what I mean? Where they always have a list that pops up and they're competitive there. Or it's like the Tau and Tyranid players in 40K. They get down in the dirt, they have to work hard, but the people that know their lists, they always pop up at competitive tournaments and stuff. But I think you're right, it wasn't like that before, but now, man, it's looking really good for them.
Yeah.
It's really good. Like,
I'm glad they got their help too. Like,
yeah.
Because now, oh my gosh, because my list, whenever I go back to Empire, because right now I'm doing clones, next list I'm doing is Rebels, then I'm doing Empire, then I'm going back to droids. And there will probably be a million variations in between the two.
Right.
But no, I want to do Empire's Vader's Fist. Like, I want to do Vader and then just bodies.
Jeez, have you seen the list people are throwing around with that? I guess what's the list version you want to run? Because there is a couple of them.
So mine it's Vader, kitted out. So he's costing 215 points. then it's 6 stormtroopers with weapons and a specialist. Because having 6 wound stormtroopers,
What weapon do you want to take with?
probably the DLT.
Really? Okay.
Like I like it. I might, depending on points. This is where it gets kind of weird. Is like I know all of them can take a DLT. I think there's enough points that like 3 of them could take the critical one, the 4 white.
Oh, the T-21.
Yeah.
I really like the T-21 specialist storms. Like a couple weeks ago, Kevin, Data on the Discord, and I were playing a game, and this is I think it was the week that the points dropped, and he was playing that with a Vader list, and my gosh, he just wrecked my Anakin list because when they pop out of cover, and you tap the specialist and you shoot, it's really freaking good. And a couple of them had the captains with he was running the captain version with the training slot, so he just push out of cover. And then his officer was passing out aims, so you're getting double aim shots, like, with precise. It was really good. It was really good.
Yeah, seems good. But then to finish off that list, it is also 3 full scout troopers. I can't remember if... I don't think they get snipers, so I think it's just 4-man scout teams.
Man, I still think those are actually worth taking a look now. Like, I don't think they're the best things in the world, but
Yeah.
it's going to be so hard to kill
With
them
low
now.
profile? Yeah. Just having them as like, okay, my stormtroopers are fighting, and the scouts will go take care of the moisture evaporators or the key positions.
Right? I mean, it's such a big change. Like, I don't think people understand how big the change to Scout 3 is on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really big. Suddenly you're an objective grabber. Suddenly when you're a range 2 gun and you have speed 3, speed 3 before the game even starts, range 2 doesn't seem that far.
Well, like, yeah, especially because most objectives are only range 1 away. So you're
it.
in position. Like, you're not only on it, but like you can go past it to get into the heavy cover that's next to the objective. Because if it's like a fixed point like intercept transmissions, maybe there's not cover if you're standing directly on it, but you can go past it and still be like, well, I'm still here.
Dude,
I'm still
right?
contesting it.
And well, for having played that with the droids and the BXs, I find that a speed 3 puts you on the point. It puts you on there, which means turn 1, you're not moving and doing it. You're doing it and then shooting. You're doing it and doing something else. Or you're double tapping a SAB with 2 different scout trooper units.
You're getting your
done.
supplies.
Yeah, and you get
double tap
supplies.
supplies. No, like the supply, the commission card. Or pick up boxes. That's another thing.
Yeah, you can do tons of stuff. Like, and when I say double tap, I mean you can have 2 units on the same one. Just so people at home aren't like, you can't do it twice. I know. I know.
That's why you brought 3 units.
That's why I brought 3. But I just think the threat range is just improved so much.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's my list. That's my idea for Empire. Because not only that, so that's 10x.
Yeah.
And that's a ton of bodies.
Like, it's also 8 black dice throwing bodies, and then 8 white dice critical. The thing is, for every 4, you should be getting a crit. Mm-hmm. That's just what math says before you have aims. It's crazy.
Yep. And then with the specialist, oh my gosh, the specialists. Like, we need to talk about that too. Because everybody's like, the core box trooper. So rebel troopers, stormtroopers, phase 1s, and B1s. No, not B1s. I didn't get that.
B1s did drop. They dropped a little bit, but
they don't have a specialist. They don't have a specialist like everybody else.
They don't have a
does.
specialist, but to be completely honest, like, I don't think the personnel upgrades will ever be taken on them.
Yeah.
And if they had specialists, I don't know if I would take them, as I think the points are spent elsewhere.
That's fair.
For better.
Okay, so excluding droids, the other factions. Okay, so to take an extra wound, an extra dude is whatever points. For 1 point more across all 3 factions, it's an extra wound plus offensive push.
Yeah.
That's what, for 1 point. And it could also be a dodge token offensive push. That doesn't make sense, but you get what I mean.
No, I get what you mean. Like,
yeah, because offensive push is 4 points, tap, get a name token.
What you're saying is you could be getting like agile or something, like, or you could just be like.
It's flexible. That's what's
flexible.
crazy. It's 1 point extra, and it's an extra wound. I don't know how much you'll see
an
it on
extra attack die.
Yeah. I don't know how. So basically, Like, all of your core troopers are now the same size as naked B1s.
I gotta say, do you know how frustrating that is as a droids player? Because that was
That was their big selling point.
Such a big advantage. That like, okay, you've got all these wounds, but when you go up against 6 wound red dice save units, that is not the same as B1s.
Mm-mm.
Like, it kind of bugs me a little bit that the B1s did go up. Like, granted, it's only 2 points, but considering the value you get out of them, like, that sucks. It's crazy. I'm seeing so many of those get played. I'm still seeing a lot of, like, I don't know, even in local meta, like, we see that quite a bit now, and I think it's so interesting. Because I feel like with Empire, you have to be running either full units, fully kitted, or just naked. You know what I mean? I don't think there's any in between. I don't think...
Just the heavy weapon, like we've seen for the last 4 years.
No 5th dude. Yeah, you're taking the heavy plus a thing, or you're just going naked. It's like...
Because you have to.
Yeah, because you have to. Like, this past week, because, like, we're talking about what we see in the meta right now. I'm seeing so many droids. I'm surprised I'm not seeing more rebels, but I'm seeing so much Empire. And this past week, I got my clones just destroyed. Well, it was interesting because by the very end of the game, we called it after turn 3 because the store was closing. I was playing Data, and he was playing a super melee skew, and I was playing Wookiee standbys. So what I was trying to do was abuse the shooting Wookiees with fire support, because I was playing around with it in, like, on one of the dice simulators. The curve showed that after you use your own aim plus Padme's aims, or an O-push aim on top of it or whatever, like, if you can get double aims and you're shooting, you should curve out at, like, 11 wounds after covered. Well, it turns out that's true. So it happened once or twice. But he was playing Vader, IRGs, triple dewbacks, and then he just had 2 full units of scouts and then the commander and 3 just storms.
Oh, just the run up and punch your face.
11 acts, and it was funny.
It was 11 acts?
It was 11 activations.
Jeez.
It was crazy.
Vader with 11 acts.
Bro, it was so scary.
Welcome to 2022.
It was the scariest thing in the world, because I set up my standby shenanigans, and as soon as he saw me set them up, he was just like, oh. And then the brain started tweaking, and we both started pulling out the range rulers, and we're like exact to be like, where do I stay out of cover? Where do I stay out of this? Oh, but Chewie has Overwatch, and I took Chewie. But man, it was crazy. So the clones did one-shot a dewback. In fact, they like one-shot 2 dewbacks, really. But then on turn 3, everything got into melee. I got hit by a dewback, and then I got hit by IRGs, and then I got hit by Vader. And we were playing payload, and so I was just like, well, good game. We're done.
I'm not moving anywhere.
We're not moving. And because I was playing shooting Wookiees, I didn't have charge, so I had to move and then attack. Which means I just... Oh, it was not good. But that just... Kevin afterwards was like, what do I do to make the list better? And I honestly couldn't think of much.
Run it again.
Yeah, I literally told him, like, just play it again.
Like, pilot it again.
The one thing I told him was maybe you drop 1 activation to add a sniper so you can just pick off the standbys people take. But when you have 5 units, you're not standbying all 5 units. You just can't.
Not to mention, like, your list was specifically geared to standby. Like, most people don't take the standby action.
Yeah, and especially on some objectives, you can't afford to standby.
Yeah.
Because you have to interact. You have to move.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, you should just keep playing that. That was my hot take. Like, we just see that. Like, we have one person who Tiffany.
Yeah.
She's amazing. Like, she's she's new to Legion, and she plays Rebels.
Newer, yeah.
Yeah, she's new-ish. She's definitely had gaming experience of some kind, whether that be board games or something. But like, I think this is her first miniatures game, is what she told us. But the last couple months that she's been coming, like, she's been playing the exact same Rebel list with like a tweak or 2 here or there. She's so good. She's gotten so good at running that list. And she was telling me one time, she's like, oh, I feel bad that I'm not ever running Leia or I'm not running Luke. And I'm like, yeah, but you're doing really well. Like, you know how to run Clan Ren. You know how to run Sabine. You know how to run Han. And that was before Han was good. Bro. Now Han's amazing.
Han is crazy. I still think sometimes there are better options than Han. But then I remember getting shot off by Steady.
Yeah.
By her, Han shooting me with Steady. And I'm like, no, he could punch up for his points.
Yeah, Steady and low profile.
Steady and low profile, and if Chewie's guardianing, like there's a lot. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're exactly right. which is funny because I actually was just thinking about like Joe, her husband, who also plays. He's been running a ton of Empire heavies, and we've actually seen quite a few more people trying Empire heavies out.
Heavy units, not heavy weapons.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, heavy units, ATSDs and stuff. That's another thing that I am noticing a lot more in the meta. Like the meta seems to be very skewed towards like
We're still in the armor meta.
totally
Like,
are.
we are hard stuck in the armor meta right now.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like the armor meta came up and people were like, I'm gonna start doing anti-armor. Like the buses, I think it's funny because I think those buses presented this problem of, okay, now there is melee and armor. So how do you stop a bus? Well, you either have to have melee units to stop what's coming from the bus, or you have to have anti-armor to kill the bus. And the best anti-armor tends to be other vehicles, right? I don't know. Maybe that's a hot take, but I felt like the bus skewed the meta into these two areas where you're either running heavy armor or you're running super heavy melee. And a couple like toolbox lists, but I don't know how sold I am on that. Right now, at least. I don't know. I guess, what do you think?
I agree that like it's very much either like heavy melee or heavy armor. There's not really a whole bunch of in between. I'm also the kind of person that I'm literally thinking of lists going like, I don't want to do either of those.
I've seen your list.
Yeah, I've never, oh my gosh.
Like,
I can't do melee. So first of all, let's get that out of the way. Like, I can't play melee. I've tried it. It's terrible. It's embarrassing. It's like watching a train wreck. I'm like, don't do it.
It's so funny too, because like learning to play Jedi was so tough, and I learned with Grievous, so I feel like I had to step up because I had scale. But then Dooku came along, and that was just
Yeah, then you got force powers,
Then I
and you're
got
like,
force
I already know
powers.
what to do.
Exactly. And I was like, oh, but I missed scale. Because suddenly you're like, oh, he's a Jedi, but he doesn't get relentless, except for that one turn.
And then Maul came out, and you're like,
This is amazing.
Here's my Jedi.
Except I feel like Maul is so much. I don't even feel this way. It's just, it's almost more fact now. Maul is such a, man, he is such a high tier skill play. Like if he gets caught out of cover, he's dead. But if you can play him just right with the right actions, the perfect moves, like I feel like he's a big brain play kind of character. But he's so good.
And I just can't do that.
Yeah.
I just can't. You know, here's what I think about it too. Like, whenever I think about me playing melee things, I immediately think of Leroy Jenkins. And I'm like, that's me. If you give me a sword, that is me. If you give me a gun, I'll actually play well.
It's so funny you say that because it makes me think of one of our first games we played. Maybe it was one of our first games, like maybe the fourth or fifth.
Oh,
we
the
played.
Kenobi one?
No, well that, but I was thinking more of the Op Luke one. When Payload first came out, and you were like, Leroy Jenkins, Op Luke, go kill that B1 unit.
I got that B1 unit.
Yes.
I got it hard.
But
And then Luke got it hard.
and then Luke realized he was in the middle of a droid army.
Alone. On the other side of a building because he jumped over. I remember that. Oh.
And the rest of the B1
So
shot the
bad.
crap out of him.
So bad.
Oh, that was such a Leroy Jenkins. But yeah, but it's
so funny.
but it's funny because I look at so.
Anyway, so I can't
Yeah.
play melee. I don't like playing heavy armor. Crap, as I'm painting up heavy armor.
As you are.
I don't know. I don't think ISPs are heavy armor.
Well, they're like armor 3, aren't they? They're like,
Well, it depends.
they're not straight armor.
Yeah.
But they're definitely vehicles, which I think that's the point. Like, there's a lot of vehicle play.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Anyway, but yeah,
But yeah.
that's definitely that. So what about you? What are you playing right now?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because you've been super droids for like the majority of this game.
For like 2.5 years, I've been like, well, basically since droids came out, I was like straight droids, and before that, I was Empire, and I put my Empire away. I was like, you're done, like, because I just wasn't one of those people at the time was willing to go back and try them, even though I liked a lot of what they were doing. But man, then the points changes dropped, and as I've been playing around with stuff, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. I think it actually started at our last our last big tournament. I ran a meme list with Vader. And I got my butt kicked.
Oh, that.
And then I had fun. And then this past tournament, I ran quad Death Troopers with Iden, Veers, 3 Naked Snows, Naked Stormtroopers. Sorry, yeah, 1 Naked Snow, 3 Naked Stormtroopers, and it was a lot of fun. Just I play around with lists with the Empire. I just am blown away continually by
Just
what-
how much they can do.
so much. Like there's so much you can do. I made a double ATST list that got up to 11 activations. Granted, they're not 11 great activations.
A lot of naked stuff.
A lot of naked stuff, but you've got Weiss as your field commander, so you don't really need anything else. Then you have the other ATST with the Hammer's pilot, because why not? And then you just fill out activations. It's not bad. Like, I don't know. I think Empire has so many. I'll be very interested to see where they land in the future. And I think we're kind of seeing that now in our local meta, where people are very much experimenting with that. Kevin is kind of taking the lead on that. He plays a lot of Darth Vader. Dewbacks are just... It's hard to also not just play a bunch of Dewbacks. They're so good. I think Iden Spec Ops, but not doing ISF, like playing around with IRGs, full scouts, and death troopers is very interesting. Especially because there's a lot of impact there. Granted, ISEs eat vehicles better, but they're more expensive now. I don't know. I'm very excited. Rebels are still seeing a little bit more. It's funny, 'cause the meta shifted, and I felt like locally we saw a ton of Rebels, and then the Empire points changed. So I'm kind of caught in the middle, because I played some Rebels. I played, not even Rebels, no, I played Empire. I played clones, actually, a lot lately.
You have been doing that, yeah, because you did the Wookiees last week. Whatever week.
I did Anakin before that.
And then it's too long.
Too long. And then
Error.
then
404, memory not found.
Then it was Empire, and then it was droids a little bit, and now we're moving back to droids. So I've been all over the place.
Yeah. Why are you going back to droids?
Because stuff came out.
We
I
finally
all.
got it! It's finally released in America!
Thank goodness.
Like, I understand that not everybody's got everything, because, like, the Super Tac droid, you guys didn't even put it on the shelf.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It just, like, it came in the box, and people just picked it up out of the box and left. Because it was all pre-orders.
It's funny because people have been checking in like weekly, like, when are you getting this thing? When are you getting this thing? When are you getting this thing? And so I told them Friday. And so Friday came, and we got half of our shipment. But when a shipment comes in, we have to receive the shipment and then make phone calls and then assign pre-orders and then let people know. We didn't even get to any of those points. The boxes came, they hit our back room, and then people showed up and went, "Where's my pre-order?" And so we just started throwing them at people. And I won't lie, I kind of was a little selfish, and I was like,
No, you got your pre-orders.
it was just my pre-orders, but I was like, I waited for the TAC droid, I waited for the clone commander, I waited for Maul, I waited for Anakin.
You're like, I did that last year.
I did that, yeah.
Not
I
this
waited
year.
my 12 months, and so I picked up all my pre-orders. And so last night when I got home, I shouldn't have stayed up so late, but because I had to work at 7 in the morning.
Oof.
But I stayed up till like 3 a.m. and I just built everything. So it's all built. All my 2 boxes of Magnas, my 3 spider droids, my Persuader, my Super Tac.
I'm so scared of those spiders.
It's gonna be so good.
Here's the thing. I'm actually really excited for the spiders because I think that solves the heavy armor list.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I think it's going to be so weird because I'm predicting that is going to stop the armor meta, but it's also like it's going to be in a weird spot where people who are building their lists are like, okay, do I fear the spiders or do I just say, screw it, I'm just going to deal with it as I run into it? Like, are the spiders going to be enough? Because it specifically has to be the ion spiders. If you run spiders in any other way, armor doesn't care. Generally, like, that comes down to player. Because, like, you can use them as speed bumps for trucks, because trucks can't...
They can't land on the spider.
They just can't pass them, period. So it's like Wookiees have to get out and go around the spiders.
Which is a lot of time to kill. And Wookiees don't really want to fight the spider because if they don't kill it, you're just going to explode the spider.
Well, not even that, but then they're out of the truck and now they're getting shot.
Yeah.
Because your spiders aren't going to be right next to your B1s. They're going to be like 2 range bands away from your shooting units.
Oh, yeah, at least like...
Because those things are not slow. They are ATRTs.
They really are. They're because they're speed 2. They're just climbing vehicles. The base size kind of shocked me because I don't know why in my head I was thinking Droideka bases.
No, it's the bigger one.
But it's the bigger one. And so when I was building them, like, I'm not going to lie, the spider droid itself it seems, you know, you look at a daddy long leg, you're like, this thing is just, it's actually small, but the amount of area it takes up is very
footprint.
big. Yeah, its footprint is big. That's how it felt to me, because the actual droid itself is like a gumball size. It's not that big. But the legs splay out to like literally the very edge of the base. No matter how you do it, it's just going to be that way when you build it.
Yeah, because the base is E-Web, ATRT, Bark Speeder. Like, it's that size
It's
base.
pretty decent size.
It's not the mortar, the Stapt, the Tauntaun base. It's
the size up, yeah.
but it's also not. It's not the like what's the snow speeder, the air speeder.
Yeah, it's
not that one, it's the middle one.
between.
Because then there's the even bigger one, which the infantry support platform is on. It's on a saber tank base.
So big.
It's like these things are so big.
I think the size is such a big thing. I mean, screening your units with the dwarf spider droids is also not a bad way to play your droid armies right now.
Cover.
It's because you're providing heavy cover.
I think it's oh no, because they're sitting low.
They're ground vehicles.
Oh, it's not ATRTs. Well, because I've tried that with ATRTs, because that's
Yeah.
my favorite unit in the game. But because they sit so high and have such chicken legs,
Well, I think the ATRTs also have like the legged walker thing.
yeah.
Oh, maybe I'll have to double check. Maybe
Well,
you're
so
right.
are
Maybe it's
so
the
are
one.
spiders. But that's what I mean. Like the body of the ATRT is so high that it only gives light cover. But like Droidicas, and I'm assuming the spider, because they sit lower, will give heavy cover.
I'll have to double check it because like you can build it so it's lower, but I think I'll have to double check the legged vehicle rules on it, the climbing vehicle rule, because I think that's the one that specifies the cover because it is the ground vehicle. But either way, it gives the cover. But like also, if you just walk up and base contact with your droids with it, like you get the cover, but you don't give it. But also like if you're screening with them, they have to take the shots, and they're very good at just being like, I'm just gonna walk up and blow up after that.
Yeah.
And if
And then you
Wookiees are
clear the
doing
way
that-
for your droids to
Yeah.
then shoot.
I'm very excited. But yeah, I think you're right. So I kind of want to touch on the point you said earlier, 'cause I think you're exactly right about this. They might be their own worst enemies. In
Yeah.
the sense that, like,
Droid on droid fights.
droid on droid fights are going to be miserable. It's going to be who ions the other person more, or who ions the other person first, probably. And then you against other armor. Because I feel like armor is every meta has, like, the S plus tier list and then the S list, right? There's always like the 2 lists that are there. I feel like armor is the just step below melee right now. And I feel like with droid spiders, if they become super prevalent at top tier tournaments, people could just say, I don't want to run into a droid matchup, so I just won't run armor. In which case, suddenly people will stop taking droids, like spider droids.
Yeah, it's
Because they're like, oh, I built this for a meta anti-armor skew, and there's no anti-armor. And then you're not going to build them with the fire or the flamethrowers because flamethrowing Wookiees doesn't do too much.
What if you do? What if you like? That's my favorite part about miniatures games. It's like, okay, so I know this is happening roughly. Do I build for this and then build for the build that I'm building against? To the inception levels deeps of fun. This is amazing.
It's kind of like you knew that I knew that you knew that I knew that you knew that I knew that you knew that I knew.
So therefore, I took naked spiders.
Yeah. I put a protocol on them and no guns.
Just run at people.
Blow up.
I mean, it's still 4 red dice in combat.
That's actually the part that makes me laugh a ton, is I feel like droid spiders are... You know what, maybe you're right. Actually, you're right. Yeah, because they're a unit that could probably pivot positionally wise if they needed to. Because, like, I guess being ground vehicles, they just stop melee from hitting your units first. So maybe they are in that position where it's like... Because here, I'll be honest, so this is the list I am super excited to try on Monday. I'm very pumped. I'm going to be running Kraken. He's going to be having Vigilance. He's going to have Endurance because he's going to use...
Wait, Kraken, not Kalani?
I don't think Kalani's any good. I've been on this since the beginning, and
I thought you were like super on Kalani.
No, Marshall's on Kalani. Marshall thinks Kalani's great because he's got the direct and stuff. I think direct is cool. I think you're using it for tanks, but like you have protocols, so you're fine. I think Kraken or the generic is the way to go because I think Override is super cool. I think Override is the key.
Okay.
So, because like you can override so much. So like it's him with Vigilance and Endurance on him and aggressive tactics if you want, but I prefer it without. basically it comes down to you either take aggressive tactics or you don't, and if you don't, you put hacked comms on your Magna droids. Because what you run is you run Kraken, a B2 with the Ha, and then 4 B1s. One of them has an HQ uplink because you're not directing anything. You don't have to direct. And then double Magna Guards with Into the Fray and Tenacity. Well,
Okay.
But you don't need Tenacity. You can also put
Oh, push.
push or whichever. There's actually a couple options you can swap there.
All the 4-point upgrades.
It's funny how, man, that's another thing to talk about. Because the training grade slot upgrade is literally just 4-point upgrades.
Yeah.
It's like
or two.
Or two.
For situational awareness.
Yeah, but I think I had Tenacity Into the Fray on them. And then they have the rocket dudes. Because why not? They're 28 points.
Okay.
And so the 2 rocket dudes. So remember, that's 2 of those, but then it's 3 spider droids with the protocol that gives you Precise 2 ion guns. And then I put HQs, I think, on them, but they don't really need it.
Okay.
It's not bad. It's pretty good. I looked at that list and I was like, wow.
So you're a hybrid droid list. So you're 11 acts.
It was really just me like looking at it, being like, I want to be Empire. I'm gonna put everything in the list because I took literally everything. Like, what didn't I take in that list? I maxed out my supports. I almost maxed out my Spec Ops, and I maxed out almost all my cores. In fact, you can take it up in activation if you want by dropping the B2s and putting it in 2 naked B1s and just run 6 naked B1s, 1 with the HQ uplink.
Just as here's our objectives. Kill all 36 of us.
Yeah.
Good old droids.
Good old droids. Because you don't need to shoot, because when you have Magnas that are shooting critical 1, impact 2 rainbows at range 4, and then you have the spider droids just recovering and shooting every turn at range 4, your shooting's kind of covered. And your melee's covered. I don't know. I'm very excited to try that list. I am super excited. I have like 3 versions of it where it's the same units, but you just tweak what upgrades they're taking. I'm very excited to try it.
Because can you do melee droids without taking a saber?
Yes. Yes, you can.
You should try doing that.
That's an idea, because essentially because you could drop, let's see.
A saber user, not a saber tank,
Yeah.
by the way. Yeah.
Well, that's the other list I wanted to try was Maul plus. Essentially what you could do is if you swap some of the things around, you can do a 10-act list with Kraken and Maul and double Magna Guards, and you still get like a spider droid. And it's like 10 activations.
With the flamethrower.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And you don't even have to take a flamethrower. I mean, you should, because flamethrowers are amazing.
I don't know.
I love flamethrowers.
I think I'm still taking the
Those are
ion
my
gun.
favorites. I love
Yeah, I think
flamethrowers.
so.
That's why I love the ATRT so much.
Oh, your ATRT spam.
It caught everyone off guard until everyone ran meta, and then suddenly I'm like, oh, ATRTs are at their best when armor is not in the meta.
Yeah.
So, like, for the first 2 years of the game, I loved those.
Bro.
It caught everyone off guard. It was amazing. It was so much fun. And then this whole armor meta came, and I'm like, time to put these guys on the shelf for a minute, because they're just blown up.
Sad ATRTs. I think they, more so than the spiders, are like the architects of their own demise, right?
Yeah, they are.
Because the second they become any kind of good, somebody brings a tank.
Well, it's,
And the tanks blow them off the table, and then they stop taking them. And then nobody brings a tank, and then you bring them back, and then a tank blows them up.
well, the reason why they were good for so long is because nobody played against armor. Like, armor wasn't a keyword that you ran into.
You were
Like, you knew it existed because you've always had the rockets
You weren't
and
prepared
ion.
for it.
Yeah, like, nobody brought those because they're like, no, I gotta fight against snipers and tauntauns and mortars, or Death Guard. Those are the things I have to deal with. And so suddenly when you have 3...
Troopers.
Yeah, trooper units. So when you have 3 armor units that you're like, oh, I have to get a 1 in 8 chance to wound it, and there's 18 wounds worth, and they're all running at me,
Seems pretty bad.
it's really fun. I love it so much.
Man, you know what's funny about ATRTs is my favorite counter to them is just throwing lots of B1 dice at them.
Yeah,
But do you know who also throws lots of dice at them very, very well?
ATRTs.
ATRTs, and also just about every unit now. Like, I keep looking around at lists, like, you're hard-pressed to find an end activation that throws less than, like, 6 dice right now. It's very interesting.
Well, and that's that's kind of another thing, because this is a whole another thing we could do a topic on. Because I was talking with somebody about, why am I not taking this, or like, why did I take Echo in a strike team? I was like, or no, it was Padme. That was the whole thing. That's a whole nother topic. That's another topic that we can just.
She's kind of the reason I'm looking at the Republic a ton right now.
Ugh, that's the thing I hate about the Republic so much. She's such a linchpin.
Like, if you're not bringing her, it's so hard. Yeah, we could talk about that in a little
Anyway,
second, but yeah.
But the point was, it's like, Padme is so annoying. It's like, well, I have to bring her because I can't. What was it? I can't even remember what it was. But the point was, it was basically how many support units versus fighting units are you taking? People were like, or someone was asking me, was like, why didn't you take R2 and get the extra operative token in your bag? I'm like, I can't. I have too many supporting units. I had the 2 clone commanders and Padme. I was like, literally everything else in my 10 acts has to be fight worthy. Like, they have to be putting out punches. You can't have.
Like, they have to make use of the support handed out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, you can't have a 4th support unit and have only 6 fighting units. You'll get out-punched. So, I don't even remember why this brought up, but that was the whole point.
Well, I don't know. It's interesting because I find that to be such a... I think that goes hand in hand with kind of that same point about, like, activations just have so many attack dice right now. Because we talk about, like... I look at lists, especially in our local meta, and even at the competitive edge, which is super interesting because LVO is going to be the real first test.
I'm so
of
excited
the meta.
to see the data from that.
It's going to be crazy, and there's so many people going because they like reopened up the hall for more people. I think like twice. It's going to be crazy.
I know, I'm so excited.
So hundreds of people.
Good luck, Marshall.
But yeah, good luck, Swivern. Good luck, man. But
I thought he changed his name to Marshall on the Discord.
no, I think for some reason Discord just shows him as Marshall, even though like that his handle is Swivern. You know what I mean?
Huh.
It's weird because like I could type Marshall or Swivern.
Anyway.
Anyways, but long story short, like as I look around at the list that are doing the best, there's like very few or almost no dead activations. Or if there are some activations that are very weak, that power is made up like 2 or 3-fold in other activations right now. Storms with specialists and captains and extra dudes. Good example. Padme, I think, is the most amazing example. Like, have you heard about those Yoda lists going around where the tank shoots like 3 or 4 times?
4 times in a turn.
It's wild. It's a 9 activation list. I think it's like actually 8.
It is 8 because it's Yoda, Padme, R2, the 3 or 4 phase 1s because they have binoculars and
because they're all just go ahead
and
tank.
everything goes into
Crazy.
the tank and 1 saber tank.
It's such a crazy list, but like it's funny because units like Padme and Yoda, what you're really doing is you're just making your turn you're trying to just amp up what you could have been doing instead.
Yeah, it's the force multiplier.
Exactly. You're just Exactly. It's the multiplier. And it's crazy with Padme and Yoda doing that because essentially you take them and make them it's like a 6 dice, 9 dice attack minimum times 4. And then the clones are there to help make those super effective as well. And the clones still shoot black dice. It's not terrible, but
you don't want them to.
You don't want them to, but
Maybe we should do that for our next episode. Let's break down like what's the difference between a support unit, a combat unit, and like a hybrid.
I actually like that idea because
Yoda's a really good example of a hybrid unit. Like he can force multiply, but he's no slouch.
he is, and I think we should do that because there's a whole discussion to be made also about like what is the purpose of something in your list, because I think a lot of times people put stuff in lists because they know they're good or they've seen somebody use something but it doesn't actually fulfill the role they think it does in their list. I like that.
I like how we keep circling back to my very first hot take that I've ever done on this podcast.
Do you know what you're doing?
Yeah, because you just said it too. I'm like, it is more about how you know how to run your list, because I don't think there's a bad unit. There's going to be one that comes up where it's like, no, this is a bad unit.
I'm trying to think of some right now. Because I'm sure there are some, like...
And before you say it, Republic ATRTs, they're good. They're struggling. I mean, they're winded, but they're completing their gym course lap.
Man, I just think some things Yeah, I think maybe there's not. I guess a case could be made for Pathfinders, but every now and then I'd see online.
But then
people
someone
playing
surprises you with Pathfinders,
Yeah.
and you're like, "How'd you do that?"
I
And you're
think,
like, "I ran it like
think
this."
they're a perfect example of like somebody who knows how to play them exactly right. Because infiltrate is so hard to do right.
Yeah, but if you build towards it, it's like, no, I'm gonna do this.
You're gonna do well.
Because that also shuts down Maul.
Man, maybe. I'm trying to think what is probably. I know people say
I think probably the best bad unit is probably full arcs.
Yeah,
But that's like, but even then, like, there's still a case that they're not awful.
yeah, probably that.
All right, what is the worst unit in Legion?
Like, if I had to say, like, this is the worst, leave it at home. Leia.
It's really funny because I was going to say Commander Luke.
The Wonder Twins.
Yeah.
The like first meta in the game is just shite now.
I also hate Commander Luke for several reasons.
Oh, gosh,
One we've
yeah.
already talked about. I can't play Commander Luke. I also think he's overcosted and he's trying to do too many things. Like,
Yep.
I love his pistol. It's an amazing gun. It's 2 red, Pierce 1. But why would I ever use that when he's got a glow stick?
Well, it doesn't help that he is charged, not relentless. So you're like, oh, what am I gonna do? Like,
Use my pistol or my glow stick.
you're using the glow stick.
But you're paying points for the pistol.
Well, the worst part is too. Like, there was a moment where I thought he was gonna get a points drop, but then Opluke came out, and when Opluke came out, you're not paying for his pistol anymore. Also, you're also paying for his command cards, and the command cards I think is what keeps him from getting any kind of points drop.
But Commander Luke also doesn't have Master of the Force.
I mean, that's true, but he does really well. Burst of Speed, which is a one-time use force ability, because you only have one-time use force abilities, and
I guess.
but he also gets to use all of his command cards, which are really crazy.
Could you build a Luke bomb?
Well,
Where, like, you just take Luke and just Burst of Speed, and then you have him as, like, a deterrent to be like, don't come within this bubble or Luke's going to come get you. And just be like, and if he
Yeah.
dies, he dies. Like, I wonder if you could do that efficiently. But see, that's the thing is, like, we're even giving these...
I
this
think-
is our...
I don't know if I'd like that actually, because then you should just do Wookiees instead for more health and more killing.
Yeah, but lightsabers.
Yeah.
Also, Leroy. I
Mr.
literally just said,
Jenkins.
yeah, this is why I don't play Jedi.
Yeah, dude.
I'm so bad at it.
Leia is so bad, man.
I think Leia's good. I'm going to make... You know what? I'm going to do that for whenever I pick up Rebels. I'm going to make Leia good.
Run her into Dewbacks once, and we'll see.
No. You
But
don't
that's
do that.
exactly the point.
But you don't run her into Dewbacks. She doesn't.
No, but the Dewbacks will get there.
But that's the thing. It's like, every unit's bad if you run it bad. That'd be like if you took Commander Luke and only shot with him.
Here's the hard part I have with Leia is just like, I feel like Leia is fine, but I could just take Shriv in a bus.
Yeah.
Or I could just take a generic commander.
Yeah.
That's the hard part.
Darn it, I'm going to make Leia good. I'm going to figure out a way. I'll figure out a list.
Man, this is, it's interesting. So with the Kashyyyk stuff, I kind of want to talk about this real quick because there's so much on the horizon. We've just done a lot of talking about what we've noticed in the game and the community and stuff, but like, I ask you this because we're both kind of excited about one side of Kashyyyk, I think, a little bit more than the others. And that's clones, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Right? Why are you excited about Kashyyyk clones?
I'm excited for Kashyyyk clones for literally the infantry support platform.
Which is such a hot take. Like,
I think that's going to be such a good unit.
ladies and gentlemen, we're bringing the spice today.
Oh, I'm so excited for it.
We're at a Tabasco level of spicy, so...
Which is really funny,
Not
too,
really.
because, like, so they're getting 4 units, right? They're getting Yoda, Wookiees, the Fluttercraft, and the ISP. And I ordered none of them except for the ISP.
Yeah, not a single one.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want any of the other ones. I don't think any of them are good. Except for the infantry support platform. And I was like, I'm so excited for it.
Dude, you are the biggest proponent of it. I don't hear anybody talking about it at all.
No,
Why?
because range 4. Oh, man. Okay, so here's my thoughts on... Because I've been playing clones for, like, 3 months now? Was it 4 months?
Oh,
Ever
but
since
you
we
played
did.
them before them set too.
Well, technically, but I didn't get serious about clones until after the meme tournament where we
Oh.
both just failed super hard.
For those who don't know at home, we ran our last big tournament. We've run 2 tournaments since then. We did a narrative and we did an actual tournament. During the
Tournament.
actual tournament, I showed up. This is before the points drop. I showed up with a Vader double do-back list, but at the time
And a lat.
and I took a lat with snow troopers in it. And the whole point was I just wanted to take snow troopers and have them throw impact grenades, full sets of impact grenades at armor, because in my mind I was like, that means I should knock any unit down to almost half health. Except each time the snow troopers blinked or only did like 1 damage.
or
Yeah, 1 or 2 damage.
And then in that same tournament,
Even with aims, and it was like, well, that sucks.
wah, sad trombone.
Lat died turn 2 every single game I played.
Yeah, and having
3
a
out of 3.
sad trombone for 3 games, you're like, all right, let's go back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
But in that same tournament, I took Republic armor. Like, I just went full-on armor. I took 2 sabers, 3 ATRTs, and then just naked phase 1s.
Minimum amount of core troopers.
Yep. The 3 I had to take, it was an 8 activation list. Everybody I everybody I squared off against looked at the list and they're like, I'm screwed. And then I lost every game.
Except the one you beat me.
Oh, yeah, we played. That's right. I forgot about that.
because we had that whole you wrecked me, and Vader got just destroyed by the lat. Well, not the lat, the tanks. But now I look at Vader, I'm like,
Yeah,
it
if
was
we
the
played that
same
now,
Vader now I think
you'd have
things
won
would be
that one.
different.
But yeah, so I'm like, so we took those as meme lists, and as soon as that tournament ended, I was like, okay, let's not get like hyper competitive, but like let's sit down and figure out clones and make a good list with it. And that's what I've been doing. And my thought on it is clones right now, especially now that the point changes have happened and Rex is pretty much non-existent. Maybe that's the worst unit is Rex. Anyway.
I don't think so, but
Rex still has a place, I think. We'll explore
Yeah,
that later.
yeah.
My thoughts on Republic right now is they only work in 2 different camps. They either work in close combat melee with Anakin or Obi-Wan. More so Anakin.
More Anakin, yeah.
Or Wookiees coming up. Like
Which
you're either
that's what I want to talk about in a second.
you're either in melee or you're at range 4. And I've been having tons of success with the range 4 thing. And so having the ISPs come out for range 4, just adding to that. I'm so excited. They throw 12 dice with the beam. It's so good.
At range 4.
Range 4.
Which it's crazy. It doesn't sound all that great, but then you think about how many activations is that list?
10.
So, but hypothetically, you have how many shots at range 4 in a turn? Like, if let's say Happy Magic Christmas Land, you get to beam as many times. It's like beam 3, right?
Yeah.
So you get a beam.
No, it's beam 2.
Oh, it's beam
the
2.
Initial hit, it's 3 units.
But you have those 4, plus you have the 5 phase 1s that are doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So you're actually getting 9 range 4 shots. So that's on turn 1.
Well, hold on, because it gets better than that. Because the beam can go to range 6, technically.
Oh, yes, you right into the back line, yeah.
Yeah, because it goes from range 1 of the thing it hit before.
And you're doing that twice.
Yeah, so the whole key with the range 4 lists is I'm not wiping units, but I am slowly planking away while you try to trudge up to me.
That is a hard thing to do, and I saw the list you're running there. You still have R2 in there, right?
Yeah.
So he'll be trying to go for
Oh,
secret
what
mission.
obnoxious. No, he's not.
He's just there
He's
healing them?
repairing.
He's a repair droid.
I mean, I can threaten. Like, if I see an opportunity to secret mission, I've won so many games with secret mission, I'm like, yeah, I'll go do it. But the main point is to repair the ISPs. But yeah, but if secret mission presents itself, so if I'm playing disarray,
Man, so what's your turn 1 play? Are you going to just turn 1 play your 2-pip just to get a beam cannon off as well?
yes.
Because then you're just going to do what? I aim, I move, I beam with the commander. And then you beam, and then you beam. And then you have 5 range 4 shots coming out. So that turn 1, you are shooting at the entire army multiple times. Man, now that's like 11 range 4 attacks.
Yeah.
Granted, the others you're kind of doing the range 4 plink, but that's not. That seems really good to me.
Yeah. I will hardcore go after limited viz. I will dump all of my vetoes against limited viz when I play this list.
Oh, just to get rid of it.
Yeah, I'm
Yep.
like, we're not playing this. I was like, I can't function with limited viz as a condition.
Oh,
I'll play
man.
literally anything else.
There are some tables that I wonder, like, with heavy cover, how that works. But then I immediately remember how fast the ISPs are. And I'm like, oh, you
Because
don't
it's
care.
on a saber tank. It's a range 1
And
base.
it's a hover vehicle, so you just fly over
And it's tall.
anything. It's not small.
It is tall. Like, I don't think it's as tall as a saber, but I'm also like, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, like, you're fine. Like, you'll find situations where you're like, okay, I have to go around the building. But I don't know if you care so much. Or you can just strafe,
I can strafe.
which is also really good.
I'm so excited for this list.
You know what? It's so funny you're actually making me feel like that, because for a while I was thinking the same thing about the Wookiee Fluttercrafts and stuff. I was like, I think this is the worst support in the game. But now I showed you that Wookiee list today that I really want to try, and I can't wait. I'm so excited to try them.
But you're still missing one. You're missing the chieftain.
I'm missing the Chieftain.
Oh,
I'm so excited.
poor Yoda.
Dude, right? 'Cause on my side, what I really want to run with the Republic, because I love playing Anakin. Because like when you play Anakin and Padme, there's so many standby shenanigans, and Exemplar, I'm learning the power of Exemplar, and it's really
So
wild.
good.
But since the standby stuff with the Wookiee guns was cool, it's a cool idea. It was fun. It's definitely a meme list.
I think you also went up against the one list that like hard
Yeah.
counters it.
Yeah, against any normal trooper unit list, like I would probably find. And
Even against like an armor, like you'd probably struggle a bit, but you'd probably push through it.
Well, one of the big shot I did was like 6 crits against the Wadubak, but it ended up being like 11 total hits, including crits after cover and everything. So he rolled for 11, but I had Pierce 1 also, so it's like, okay, like
Probably
'cause you-
doing like 4 at least.
I
It's way more than that.
I did like 8, but it was a lot. But then I thought about armor. I'm like, oh, that just eats up armor. But then the melee skew was just But I think for me, what I want to try is this other melee skew, because you can run the triple Wookiees. Like I showed you, it's 10x. You're running a bunch of naked phase 1s, and you have the naked commander, but you have the Wookiee chieftain fully kitted, vigilance, push, tenacity. You can drop actually, I think we dropped tenacity in it because you didn't really need it.
That was if you took
Nice.
heavy weapons.
Oh,
with the phase
that's
ones.
right.
There was playing around with it.
That's
but,
right.
like,
But you can put the tenacity on them, and then you have 3 melee Wookiees, 2 with the guns, 1 naked with push tenacity always, and then 2 of the Fluttercrafts with HQ uplinks and the guns. Because what I want to
the
do with
rear mounted guns.
the rear mounted guns, because what I want to do them is start that on an offset, so like at an angle, so that way they can, compulsory
I see you've played X-wing.
pivot. Yeah. Yeah. How can you tell?
I can't imagine.
Started on an offset. But the idea is to, like, do a circle. So you compulsory forward, take your reposition, and then shoot. Because it's a 4-dice Pierce gun. Seems pretty good. And then you move back. And then you do it again. So you just start looping into range to shoot, and then out of range to shoot. And then into range to shoot, and out of range to shoot. You can also do it cheaper if you just put the Grenadiers, which I really want to try.
It looks so much
I want to
fun.
try, but yeah, I mean, because in my mind, I'm just thinking like, force suppression on so many things
I think you can build towards a suppression clone list.
easily.
Like, I bet you could. Oh, that's some theory crafting.
A part of me wonders if right now is the time for it, but I think if we ever swap back to like a trooper heavy meta, I think clones with that could be really good.
Yeah, because mortars are still a thing. Man,
They-
I love
they
mortars.
are- I'm not.
Those phase 2 mortars, I want them to be good. They're not, but I want them
The
to.
hard part is the DC-15 just does it better.
No, because, yeah. Okay, first of all, this was like my biggest epiphany after the new patch came out, was that a phase 1 unit with the DC-15 and a specialist cost the exact same amount of points, 89 points, as a phase 2 unit with a Z6. And I'm like, oh, phase 2s are now bad.
That might be the worst units in the game.
That's such a hard swing for phase ones. It's like you get 6 wounds, you're at range 4, you have critical 1. Like, I can't tell you how many times that critical 1 has come in. Like, just, oh yeah, I rolled a surge, cool. I don't have to share the token anymore.
No massive dice pools anymore with token sharing, but like, you don't really need it when you have a lot of really effective dice pools. You're
Yeah.
definitely right.
Because as you get closer, there's just more black dice being thrown at you. And they're red dice. Oh, the DC 15 is red dice. Unless you use the promo card.
It's so funny because I feel like that's even worse.
They got misprinted to be white dice. It's really red.
That's so fun.
I love that so much.
I feel like somebody always makes a joke about that whenever you.
Yeah, it's me. It's always me. I'm always making that
Every
joke.
time. Oh man, it's funny that I'm more excited to play clones now that we're not playing Rexstar stuff. I don't know. I like the challenge.
I
that
liked
it brings.
Rexstar. I'm okay with seeing it go. I wouldn't mind seeing it come back. Not in the standby sharing one. That one was bad, straight up. I didn't like that one.
See, I've been wondering if Rex's place is beside the Wookiees, and I know that's a weird take, but he gets to scout to the Wookiees.
Oh my gosh, a range 4 bowcaster.
You just scout them at a shooting range. Well, or you just take or just melee Wookiees, because then you already start speed 2 out.
Yeah, because then you're a range 3 with melee Wookiees and a range 4 bowcaster on clankers. Oh no!
You
I
can't
think...
clankers the Wookiees anymore. It's
darn
clones.
it. That's right.
But what you can do is you can call me Captain, fire supporting into melee Wookiees.
Yeah, that gets weird though.
I don't know. I think it gets fun. It's definitely interesting because you have to Wookiees already want to kind of last first as it is, or last. That's the thing. Melee units, they go back and forth. If you want to last or last first, generally you want to last first in, and then you want to last for the rest of the game.
After you last.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like when you dive in, you want to go last, then hit first, and then you want to go last for the rest of the game to make sure you're stuck in melee.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're weird, but like the way it makes you play with the Wookiees getting into melee, and then Rex one-pipping the next turn. Like he has to run, get his butt up there, and then one-pip the next turn. He probably dies because he's just chilling, but hopefully before he dies, you're just adding 3 dice, which doesn't seem terrible to me. Because 3 dice kind of makes up for a Wookiee dying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like let's say you make it up, but a Wookiee's dead, but you pop his one-pip. He just helped make up the cost. Plus, if you have tenacity on him, you actually got better dice. Granted, if no Wookiee dies, you gain 4 dice on top of what you just had. But I don't know. It's an idea.
Yeah. But again, that just reinforces that clones are either in melee or range 1 or range 4.
Man.
Like they don't live in range 2 or 3.
No, sir. I agree. It's funny how excited.
Well, okay, hold on.
Now.
They're their strongest in melee or at range 4.
Yeah.
Like there might be a range 3 list that everyone's still running the Z6. I don't get it. It's not that good of a gun.
It's because it's a lot of dice, and I think the big thing is if you're running the Padme stuff, it's still a lot of aims to just roll, and a lot of surges.
But do you know what's better than rolling a bunch of dice? Not rolling D6s. Like if you're at range 4 and don't ever roll a defense dice, that's way better than rolling 6 white attack dice.
I think it's yeah. I think the big thing is it depends on the objective, right?
Yeah, I guess that's true too.
Because I think there's a lot of objective pushing for like with payload. Eventually, your stuff's really good, but like if you get stuck with hostage exchange, eventually you're in the middle. I don't know. It's interesting. I think it depends on who you play against. But also I think you're right. Keeping all your health is also really good.
Yeah, because then
not having to roll defensive dice is very solid.
Yeah, because as you're chipping away at people, you still have 6 wounds of red save clones that can still share the 1 dodge that they have because your commanders have vigilance and they've just kept them the whole game. Because the first turn when you're not doing anything, you're like, oh, I'll just dodge.
Dodge and vigilance.
Dodge, because I have triple dodges.
Triple
Because I have 2
vigilance.
commanders and Padme that have vigilance.
It's such a wild
It's
list.
so stupid.
That list playing against it just was really difficult. I had the AAT in that too.
Yeah, you're like, how do I approach this? It's like, you don't. You have to fight me at range 4.
Well, I think the thing that's interesting is that with Padme's standbys, you can also move your rockets into position if you need to take them, because that's a cheap option too if you just need impact.
Which I do. That list has 2 of them.
I think that list does very well against armor.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, so here's what I wonder: are you scared more of Wookiees? Just period. Any list. Are you more scared of Rebel Wookiees, or like Empire melee skew?
I'm not scared of melee with the range 4 list. I've played way too much Tau in 40k to be scared of melee. I was like, I've crossed this bridge so many times.
Right.
I was like, I know how to deal with this. And that comes down to piloting, not the actual list itself.
Understandable. I mean, I tried to. I honestly was just like, I sorry, that pause there was me thinking like, yeah, I guess you're probably okay, right?
Yeah, it's like I know how to do this. I've been doing it for so many years.
Well, it's funny because I think the game already went through that too, right? Like Tons came out at the same time as
Dewbacks.
Shores.
Yeah, Shores.
And the big thing with Shores was the range 4, because like without it, you're like, well, I guess I just get wrecked by Tons. Like, the wheel of time is turning, and we're coming
Yeah,
back.
because that was the thing. It was like Tons were the amazing melee unit, and Shores were the range 4 gun. And statistically, Shores beat Tons more often than not.
Yeah,
So
especially when you get caught just out of cover. Granted, the Wookiees have more health.
yeah, that's true. But they also save worse,
They do.
don't have
No
agile.
agile. Yeah.
So they don't have as many dodge tokens. So it's
I guess they do have a bus, so they can still get there.
that is more than anything what has made Wookiees good. Is just not rolling the D6.
Yeah,
Because like you can't
Yeah.
kill Wookiees if you can't shoot them, and if they're just in your face because a bus said, "Okay, get off the bus."
You're in trouble.
Yeah, now you have 12 Wookiees in your face, and you're like, that's bad.
I think it's funny that like lately I haven't heard a ton of discussion about the bus.
I think okay.
But do you know what I mean?
I think everyone agreed that the bus was too good as it came out.
Yeah.
And with the new patch, I think it's fair. I'm like, okay.
I still think it's scary as heck.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I totally think so too. We also haven't seen the bus around here.
That's
the
kind of
one thing.
That's kind of the thing that's getting me, because
weird.
when it came out, like nobody was playing the bus, and then at that tournament that you and I both got stomped at, because we were just memeing it up and we shouldn't have been.
We should not. There were like 3 buses, but then the narrative event came out.
Every Rebel list had I think like 4 Rebel lists had buses, and then the rest had T-47s.
Yeah. Oh, the T-47.
Which, that's the one thing I was because I like your shooting list. I think the big thing is you're critical to also try and kill the T-47
I'm
first.
way more scared of armor.
Yeah.
Like I'm way more scared of armor with that range 4 list than I am with against melee.
Which is funny because I think you dish just as much towards the armor as you take with the critical.
Yeah, but the problem is, it would plink again. That's the thing is like range 4. It doesn't matter what I shoot at. I'm plinking against it, and there is so much I have to do against trooper units that
That's
I
true.
can't allocate towards
distract.
armor, and armor is harder to plink against.
I guess also you have to really run the risk of if Padme gets hunted by a T-47.
Yeah,
You're out a big part of that list.
yeah, but that's also bad positioning if I let that happen.
It's true, but a T-47 that moves as fast as it does with 3 movements to set up for a turn 2 alpha on her. It's pretty good.
You can't turn 2 because then
You just speed.
you
And
okay.
the next turn you go first. You speed. You pop her.
But you're not gonna one shot her.
No,
Not with 6 dice. She has 5 health
you could.
and dodges.
You could. She'll have a dodge because you'll probably vigilance 1. But if she doesn't go first,
Yeah.
and then search crit,
So
it's like. But also, people don't usually just run one T-47. A lot of people run.
yeah, but then I do have a chance to respond.
This is true. I still,
I know it's also like
but also a Padme on 5 health is a Padme that gets all. I don't know. I think that's something I'm just trying to think about because
that also comes down to player.
Yeah, but the point I'm trying to get. Sorry, I totally got distracted here.
We haven't been doing that for an hour.
Not at all. But like, I just find it so interesting that after the points changes, the stuff that I'm very scared of, suddenly I'm not seeing it on casual nights like at all. Granted, they're casual nights. People are just testing it out. but I didn't even really see it a lot at the last like narrative tournament. Some people took that very seriously. Like, I'm just not seeing it a ton, period. Granted, there haven't been a ton of crazy events, but I thought for sure I would see a lot more Rebel Wookiees and really just Rebels, period. But everybody else seems to be just Empire training it.
There's still a couple pretty, like Marshall and Tiffany are still pretty solid Rebels.
Very.
Thing we really haven't seen is No, Joe has droids, you have droids.
Eric's been playing
Eric's
lots of droids. Marshall's been playing tons of droids.
It's true. Marshall has been double dipping into Rebels and droids.
Yeah.
I think my absolutely favorite thing about seeing what's been going on locally, no one's really doing the same thing. Everyone's exploring their own corner of this game.
Yeah.
No one's like, it's not like all the Empire players, like everyone's bringing ATSTs. Like you'll see a ton of ATSTs, but it's like ATSTs with bike support. Because Ethan ran that. Or wait, did he bring an ATST? He ran bikes. But that's the thing. He ran bikes. Nobody else has run bikes. We saw IRGs. We saw Dewbacks with Data. We saw Vader. Not everyone's running Vader. Everyone's excited for Vader, but not everyone is playing around with them right now. And that's kind of the same with like everybody. You were running with Wookiee Republic. I'm running Range 4 Republic. We see Han heroes with Tiffany. We see Marshall is playing. That one was also Han Sabine. Yeah, that one.
But he's also been trying Kalani like a ton. So,
but like everyone's doing their own thing. Like even when I went up north to Gamers Asylum, everyone was running things that aren't being run here. I'm like, this is cool. This is really good for the game. I'm so hyped for it.
I agree. I've never sat down at a list builder and been so excited and just not sure what to do with myself. Because like I think I told you this. Like the reason I started picking up the clones a touch was because like before Kashyyyk Wave came out, as much as I love the droids, I felt like they had been figured out. And granted, the droids still just didn't have a ton of options.
Yeah, that was kind of, you were just like, I have to take these because there's not another choice.
I want to play Maul. Well, there's really only this one Maul list to run. Well, I mean, you can run a couple variations, but like you're essentially running Maul, you're running B2s, you're running a couple snipers. Like it's an attack droid. Like it's a 10-act list. You're gonna do it.
And I think up until this week, droids have kind of suffered that the most. That they only had like one really solid list. But now that Kashyyyk is out,
yeah, like
floodgates are open,
right? Like you were running the AAT, or you were running Staps, or you were running Maul, and now there's just so many options. I am very excited for LVO. I'm also a little afraid for LVO because I feel like right now every faction, I couldn't tell you which faction is the best. I can tell you Republic is probably not the best.
Yeah.
I can tell you they're probably in the weakest position right now.
Because again, it just comes down to how familiar are you with your list.
Yeah.
One other point about why I'm so hyped that everyone's kind of exploring their own thing. Because I remember when Legion was, okay, I pull up my army builder, hold on, let me get my 3 snipers. Now what do I want to play?
Yeah.
Like, everybody did that. And it was that way for, like, 2 years. Granted, like, Empire snipers are still really good. Like, snipers are still good, but you don't just start 3 snipers because they're so good and so oppressive. It's not just, I'm down 150, like, it's not 550 point list plus 3 snipers. It's you can build whatever you want with 800 full points.
It feels great, man. Like, I've been messing around so much with Iden and Krennic, and it's funny to think I can start there. And I haven't even been taking the snipers. I took quad Death Troopers to that tournament. I think it's really good. It's evolved since then, but, like, it's just really cool. I mean, the synergies between Krennic and Iden. I mean, that Tac Strike turn had 5 activations. 5.
Yeah.
It was absolutely amazing because you could turn 1, move O push shoot. Then turn 2, play Tac Strike, recover, move shoot.
Tac Strike on turn 2?
Turn 2, whoa! But you didn't have to infiltrate Iden for that. It was so cool. You could just move shoot.
Yeah, I guess because you don't want her on by herself.
No, what I ended up doing is infiltrating her like a little bit in so she could shoot at range 3, but you didn't need to.
Right, on the flank, just
right?
out there in the corner.
Exactly. But then on turn 3, you just, because you'd already recovered, You just move and shoot again at range 4.
Because you don't push during tac strike. You
No.
keep that untapped.
Yeah, because you don't need more than one aim on Death Troopers. But the whole idea is you're just like, I'm a range 4 army and I'm popping in and out of range 4. So your opponent, unless they had range guns, just couldn't keep up. But you also had synergies between, like, I had Vigilance on Krennic, and so he was able to Vigilance Iden's dodge, which means she never didn't have a dodge because of Nimble and situational awareness, which was amazing.
Oof.
But also, between those two, Krennic also has Cunning when he needs it, and he's able to pass out standbys, and one of Iden's cards gives her a standby. It was absolutely insane.
Oh, yeah, her 1 pip.
Her 1 pip. And she has quick thinking, so she can get double dodges. It was just insane, and I love the synergy there. Like, but that list only worked because of the changes. I'm very excited.
See, and that's what's crazy is like you're now exploring that. You still can go look at Vader.
I haven't
Like,
even touched Vader yet.
You can look at Callus. Like, because Callus, well, I wonder, Callus and Iden.
I've thought about Callus Iden.
But then you lose the 4th Death Trooper, and then you have to rethink your special forces.
I'm also really in love with Krennic's points cost and what he can do. Like, his cards are so good.
That's fair.
And
Annihilation
Cunning
Dooms.
is really nice.
There's just so much to explore right now.
So
It's
much.
so much fun.
It's so much. But before we head out, we also have some big news for what's coming up in the next couple weeks.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And this is a Josh thing.
Oh, this is so exciting. Okay, so we just announced our very first tournament for the new year. Well, the next event. I
Whoop,
guess.
whoop.
We're trying not to go more than 2 months without an event. Like, we want the community to keep growing. We want to keep going. And we want to keep doing so many cool things. So we have January 8th. We just announced this today. Is our next tournament. We want to run events, not so much always tournaments, because the narrative event, I think a lot of people had fun. So we want to do things more narrative events. We also want to do like day of plays, like we did with the special edition Luke Skywalker. But we also do want to do tournaments. So we're probably going to swap back and forth between the two of those. But January 8th is coming, and we have prizes. There's so many prizes. I'm so
Guys.
excited.
You don't understand how cool they are.
Oh.
I've seen them. I'm not going to spoil them. I'll let Josh take care of it. But, like, man, they are very cool. They are extremely cool.
I'm so excited. Yeah, so join our Discord server if you haven't, because I'm sure eventually I'll spoil them eventually. They're so cool. I'll try not to.
It'll be so cool, man. I'm so excited. And it's pre-LVO, so maybe you can get your licks in before you head over there if you're going to LVO. If not, like, it'll still be fun. And there will be pictures. I mean, we just have so many new people
I'm
playing.
going to flood the internet with pictures. I'm so excited.
Dude, I'm so excited for it, too. I really am. Like,
What a great time to be a Legion player.
Right? I don't know if I've been this excited in a while. I mean, a lot of big, like, tabletop YouTube channels have been picking up the game. They've been testing it out. I've been playing. The list, there's a new list I want to try every week. The game feels amazing right now.
So
It's
many
the best
channels
time.
too, because there's like Grey Squadron, there's Yavin Base, there's I think Mini Wargaming is picking this. No, they haven't done it yet.
Tabletop Titans tried it.
Titan Crafty Terrain is doing it.
Terrain. On Table just played a couple, and I think they said they plan on doing even more. Eons of Battle, who's like a pink channel that I watch every now and then. He's like been very pro Legion lately too. Like there's a lot.
Zorp is still doing it.
Zorp, man. He's such a
Man,
goober.
I love that
guy.
He goes so over
Rocky.
the top.
I love
love him.
Eat it up, man. I eat it up. But yeah, there's a lot. I guess Josh, has been great to be back. Any parting words? Any words of wisdom?
Yep.
Yep.
There's something witty floating around up there, and it's still floating.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, on that note, yep.